Okay, Your Honor. I believe we have 2 hearings.
Okay,
Let me pass that down.
I am ready to go. First one is Diana Collins. She's here. Just take the podium there, please, so we can hear you better and see you. The allegation here is vehicle used in the commission of driving with a suspended license. You have police report, I believe,
Yes.
which I have now.
Yes.
All right, I'll accept exhibits 1 and 2. Any questions before we start? Okay, any opening, or do you want to go ahead?
No, Your Honor, I just proceed with the exhibits that I presented you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and look at exhibit 2 then, which is the report of Officer Ethel, E-T-H-E-L-L. This violation allegedly occurred on October 4, I believe, of this year. The officer was assigned driving the indicator squad car in uniform at about almost 2:30 a.m. He observed a maroon Chevy Caprice northbound on Edward. He checked the vehicle's registration plate through computer system and discovered that the registration of the car was suspended for an insurance violation. He stopped the car on North Edward, talked to the driver, who was Michael Richardson. Richardson said he knew the plates were suspended, explained the physical condition that he had. Again, the officer checked the driver's license, which was suspended. There's a printout there showing that on the front page. He was then arrested for driving with a suspended license. Vehicle was towed. I guess that's the gist of it. Okay. Anything else for the city?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you want to present any evidence yourself? Any testimony or exhibits, anything?
No.
Okay. Any argument?
Yes, Your Honor. As shown by exhibits 1 and 2, notice was sent to the owner, Diana Collins, within 10 days of the vehicle being impounded. After a stop, the officer discovered the driver, Michael Richardson, did have a suspended driver's license. While there were extenuating circumstances for the reasons for his driving, such as taking himself to the hospital due to a medical condition, it still doesn't excuse the fact that he did have a suspended driver's license at that point in time. Based upon that, we would ask that you do find that the vehicle was used in the commission of the offense. Bond has not been posted.
Okay. Do you want to say anything else?
She basically said it all. That, like, I didn't know it was 2:30 in the morning. I was asleep, and I didn't even know until I got the call that he had been arrested. That, he had woke up in the middle of the night and his feet were swollen like twice the size they're supposed to be.
Right.
And my car hadn't even been driven because my plates were suspended, and I was not going to drive them because they're suspended. And
Right.
well, he took it on himself to go ahead and drive my car and take himself to the emergency room. Obviously, I'm not going to say that he stole my car in that situation. So, I mean.
Okay. All right. One thing I overlooked here was to look at the record of the ownership of the vehicle. I'm sure that's on here somewhere.
Yes, it's in the further back pages. I think it's the second to the last page.
Here it is. Okay. Diana Collins. Okay. All right, I understand what you're telling me. How far did he have to go to get to a hospital?
It's about, I don't know exactly how far it is. It's, like, you know where the Garfield overpass is?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we live just on the east side of that, and
Okay.
then he was going to Decatur Memorial
Okay.
Hospital.
Pretty good walk.
Yeah, especially with your feet
Right,
swollen like
exactly.
that.
Okay. Well, I guess I can understand why someone might do that, even though it
Right.
breaks the law
Even
to
though
do
he
it.
knew he shouldn't have.
Sure. It's not like it's some horrible criminal offense. It's just
Right.
driving with the suspended license in your vehicle.
Right.
Okay. Well, the ordinance was violated, as you know, so there's not much real argument about that. We'll indicate on this written order that you are present. I will find that the vehicle was used in the commission of driving while suspended, because it was. It was not stolen. Judgment will be entered. The fine is set by city ordinance. It's $250. Do you know when you could pay that?
I'm not sure.
Is your car still impounded? Okay, so there's another fee that you're going to have to deal with there to
I
get it back.
probably won't be able to do anything. I
Okay.
mean, I'll pay the $250 as soon as I can, but
Can you make monthly payments?
I can. I mean, yeah, I can try to do that.
How much do you think you could pay per month?
Make it something you
I
can
mean,
live with.
I can. I mean, just until December, if I can pay like $25 a month, and then in December he gets a school check and he can pay his own fine.
Do you want to do like 90 days to pay?
Yeah, why
Okay.
don't we do that?
Okay, then
Then
you'll
that
have
way
some
he can-
flexibility, and
I can make
as
him
long
pay.
as it's paid within 90 days, that should take
Right.
care of it. Now, we're going to put all this on a written order and send a copy to you. It might be a few days before you get it.
Okay.
Then you'll have the details in
Okay.
front of you. If you cannot make the payment within 90 days, let somebody know in the legal office.
Okay. So I come here and talk to someone, or call, or
My name and number are on the printout or the notices.
that I will receive.
It's
Okay.
actually the stuff you've already got. My name's
Okay.
Amy Wax.
Okay.
And it's got my phone number there, so you can contact me at that number, okay?
Okay, great.
Any question?
I don't think so.
I'll put on here, be paid in full within 90 days from today, 10/21.
Okay.
And if you do that, that should take care of it. Be
Yeah.
careful, all right?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty. Javisha Henning, present. How are you?
Fine.
How old are you?
19.
Okay. You look younger than that, that's why I was asking. The alleged violation here is that a vehicle owned by you was used in the commission of possession of cannabis. You're aware of that? Okay. And you wanted to have a hearing today? Am I correct? All right. I have exhibits 1 and 2. I think you have them already. Okay. Shall we go ahead and consider exhibit 2? Well, actually, there's no sticker on that. I think it's exhibit 2.
Sticker on the wrong one.
Oh, okay, that's all right. Not a problem. Let's see, the date involved here is October 5. This is a report of Officer Larson. October 5, he says at about 11:50 p.m. he was on northbound on Monroe and Decatur. In front of him was a red Ford SUV. He checked the registration plates on it and was told that the plates were suspended for an insurance violation. That's why he stopped the car. There were 4 people in the car. He says the driver was Javisha Henning. And it identifies the other people in the vehicle. The officer asked everyone to get out. He searched the vehicle. He found in the center console 2 bottles of gin. He asked the driver about that. She said she did not know where they were. They were not hers. He asked Albert Tillman, I believe. He said they were his. Excuse me. Albert was arrested, and the officer searched Albert, found on him a little cigar-looking object in his jacket pocket. The officer describes that as a blunt, which usually contains cannabis. He said, I asked Albert what was in the cigar, and he said it was cannabis. So the officer took that and the gin bottles. The vehicle was towed. Then it talks about some of the other people. Here we go. The cannabis was weighed, and it weighed doesn't say on that page what it weighed. I'll look for it back here.
Your Honor, on the last paragraph.
Oh, did I miss it?
Yes. On the last paragraph, on page 2 of the police report,
Okay.
the suspected cannabis was taken to headquarters where it weighed 1 gram with packaging.
Thank you. There it is, right in front of me. Okay, so it was a very small amount. Okay. And it was not in your possession. It was in one of your passengers' possession. All right. Anything else for the city?
No, Your Honor.
Do you want to present any evidence, Miss?
That I never got the paper to say that my license plate was suspended. They never informed me, so.
Okay. Do you own the vehicle? Okay. Do you live at the address on your driver's license? Okay. Ordinarily, the Secretary of State would mail that to you at the address on your driver's license. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get it, but that's what they do. According to what I have here, the suspension on your license was for a conviction for no insurance.
I had my insurance.
Well, it would have been before this date. I don't know when it was, but that's what
It's down there that I have my insurance valid.
That's what I'm saying. The suspension would have come before October 5. Would have been some time previous to that. I don't know what date it was, but it would have been before that night you were stopped. That's at least the reason the Secretary of State lists for suspending the plates on the car. Anything else you want to say? Okay. Anything else for the city or any argument?
Your Honor.
Are you talking to me? If you are, I can't hear you. But
Is the Secretary of State supposed to send her a letter letting her know her plates have been suspended? She never got any letter or nothing.
Well, I understand what you're saying. They're required by law to send it to you at the address, usually on your driver's license. Okay, that may be. If you want to, this is just up to you. You could go out to the driver's license examining station. They could probably review whatever records there are that may have been sent to you. Or you could contact the Secretary of State's office in Springfield. But if you look at what the law requires, they must send you a notice in the mail. Sometimes it doesn't get to you, but that's what they're required to do. Any argument?
Your Honor, the notice from the city was sent within 10 days of the vehicle being impounded.
Okay.
The evidence shows, as you had read, that Jameisha Henning's license was suspended for a mandatory insurance violation. The police officers, upon inspecting the vehicle, found on Albert Tillman a blunt, hollowed out and cannabis wrapped in there. The police weighed the cannabis to be 1 gram with packaging. Based on the evidence presented, we would ask that you find that the owner is guilty of a UUMV violation.
Okay. Anything else you want to say? All right.
Is she being charged for what he didn't know him?
I can't hear you.
Sir, if you wish to testify, you need to come on up here and be sworn in.
Do you want him to testify for you? Come on up. She's nodding her head yes. I can't hear you and she won't talk to me. So this is getting...
I was just trying to find out.
Please tell us your name. What's your name?
Sir, what is your name? This is being recorded. We have to make a record of this, and you just shouting out from the audience doesn't help us make a good record.
What?
So you need to speak into the microphone, advise us of your name.
My name is James Henning.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm Jamisha's dad.
Okay, good.
What I was trying to find out is she being charged for the cannabis that the other guy had on him.
No?
No.
The violation for this case is that the vehicle that she owned was used in the commission of an offense. The offense being specifically the possession of cannabis that was on a passenger. She's not being charged with having possession of that cannabis, either through the ordinance violation or through circuit court. He is, Mr. Tillman. So it's just that a vehicle that she was owned was used in the commission of that offense. It could be, there's a list of different violations: driving while suspended, driving under the influence, possession of weapons, and in this case, the possession of cannabis that weighed 1 gram with the packaging. It's not alleging that she had anything to do with the cannabis, other than it was in her car. And there's no allegation that she even knew that her passenger had it in her car. It's just the violation that a vehicle that she owned had the cannabis inside of it.
Now, her plates were suspended.
Correct.
Now, like I was saying, the Secretary of State never sent her a letter letting her know that they were suspended.
Well, as the hearing officer advised, the Secretary of State would send a letter out to the address of where either her driver's license has an address or where the plates are registered. Whether or not you received it is a different story. All they're required to do is mail it out. So as he advised, you might want to check with the Secretary of State, either here locally or in Springfield, to check with them to see where the letter went to. But based upon the information that we received, it appears that the registration or license plates were suspended back in June, so a few months ago. And it was suspended based upon a violation of the mandatory insurance. So if there'd been like a ticket for no insurance or something, that's what the reason for the plate suspension.
Okay, but up till right now, she still hasn't received any information letting her know that they were suspended.
Sir, she may never get it. The only thing I can tell you is that the law requires the Secretary of State to send a notice. That's what the law says.
But if they send it to her address, when it comes to her address?
It should, but I can't guarantee you that that will happen. Sometimes mail gets lost. But the only legal requirement is that they mail it. If you didn't get it, I can't explain that. What's your address? Where do you get your mail?
357 Bursky Court.
Okay, that's the same address that your records have on it, so I'm assuming that's where they would have sent it, but I'm assuming that. I don't know. I'm not the one who mails it. I'm just saying what they're supposed to do.
So, would she have to go to the Secretary of State to find out where they sent it?
I would.
Because she hasn't received it.
Well, I would if it were me, but that's up to her. So I would want to know also. Anything else, Jamisha, that you want to say? All right. You're like a lot of other people, you got caught in something you didn't know about. Unfortunately, that happens. But the vehicle, which was yours, was used in the violation or in the offense of possession of cannabis, even though it wasn't you who did it. It was somebody in your car. So my finding will be that the vehicle was used in the commission of possession of cannabis less than 2.5 grams. The vehicle was not stolen. Judgment will be entered. Did you say bond was posted or not? I forgot what you told me.
I don't know.
Do you know? Is it?
Bond was not posted, Your
Okay.
Honor.
Okay. The fine is $250. That's set by city ordinance. Do you know when or how you can pay that? We'll give you time. I'm sorry.
A few months,
How much?
couple months.
Would 90 days be enough? Is that a
Yeah.
problem with the city? Is that okay?
That's fine, Your Honor.
Is the 250, is that all she has to pay?
Yes.
I mean, it won't go up in 3 months? Or?
No.
Okay.
I do want to let you know, though, just in fairness, the vehicle is being held in impound until that $250 is paid. Now, that's separate from this case. That's through the Prairie Land Towing, and they'll have a storage fee that could continue to rise until the $250
Yeah, and
is
it
paid.
probably will go up. The towing companies usually do that.
When does that start?
That probably already has started, so you might want to contact Prairie Land and work something out with them as well.
So basically, once she paid the 250, then she got to go out there and see what.
Settle up with them. Yep.
So where does she pay the 250?
She can pay that either in installments or all at once downstairs at the water payment windows where you pay your water bill. Okay?
And the only other thing is, this is all in a written order. We'll mail it to you in a few days. You'll get it at that address. Okay? Be careful. And thanks for being here with us. Appreciate it.
You don't need to put the clip back on.
Oh, by the way, this is yours. I took that off of something. ADM. I see no one here on behalf of ADM.
Your Honor, the evidence would be that notice was sent to the owner of the vehicle within 10 days of the vehicle being impounded. On September 30th of 2011, officers observed headlights approaching south of where the officer was located on Monroe, just south of Decatur Street. The vehicle then drove past the officer and stopped at the stop sign at Monroe and Decatur. The officer observed the vehicle to be a 2009 Chevrolet Impala, license plate number H484585, later found to be registered to ADM. The vehicle was not reported stolen. The officer observed that the vehicle proceeded northbound through the intersection very slowly and then entered the curved northbound lane and then, without using a turn signal, changed into the inside northbound lane. After making the change of the lane, the vehicle swerved to the right, traveled for several feet, straddling the white dashed line, and the vehicle was traveling between Decatur and Macon Street at this time. The officer pulled behind the vehicle, and the vehicle did not signal and again swerved into another lane. The officer followed the vehicle from Wood Street to about Prairie before the officer activated his emergency lights. At this point, the vehicle was traveling about 19 miles an hour. A traffic stop was conducted. Officers found the driver of the vehicle to be a Karim, K-A-R-I-M, Oliart, O-L-I-A-R-T. Found that while speaking to him, He was speaking very slowly, moving very slowly, and had a confused and distant look on his face. He had a strong odor of alcoholic beverage on his breath. His speech was slurred and slow, and his eyes were glassy and bloodshot. He was having difficulty locating his license and insurance. He was asked how much he had had to drink, and he advised one beer, or a beer. Officers then performed the field sobriety tests, which he failed. He was asked to provide a breath sample, but did not provide sufficient breath, and no reading was obtained. He was then placed under arrest for driving under the influence, taken to the Macon County Jail, into the intox room, and a 20-minute observation time began. After the 20-minute period of time, he did provide another breath sample, which showed the concentration of alcohol to be .171. Bond has been posted.
I think I gave you my copies of a couple of schedules somehow and all this earlier stuff.
Sorry.
Which is, I don't need it back, but you're going to find it somewhere in your files probably. Back on this case, we'll treat this as a default factual basis presented, finding that the vehicle was used in the commission of driving while under the influence of alcohol. The vehicle was not stolen. Judgment entered. Fine is $250. Bond to apply. Order entered. You know what I'm talking about.
I'll find it.
Grab too many papers. There we go.
Not present.
The evidence would show that notice was sent to the owner of the vehicle within 10 days of the vehicle being impounded. On October 5th of 2011, officers were detailed to 1108 West El Dorado, which is Hotspot Food and Liquor, in reference to an anonymous controlled substance complaint. Officers were advised that a white Chevrolet and a black Cadillac and another Cutlass were selling drugs to each other. Upon arrival, officers observed a maroon 1979 Chevrolet Caprice, license plate number E171248, registered to a Victoria Careter. It is the police's belief that that's actually supposed to be Carter. It was just misspelled at the Secretary of State. When we sent notice to the owner, we sent it to Carter, also known as the Careter. Officers observed this vehicle leave the parking lot and enter the roadway and onto the 500 block of Oakland. The vehicle failed to stop at the sidewalk prior to entering the roadway, and a traffic stop was initiated. Officers found the driver to be a Quincy L. Carter, whose driving privileges were suspended. The vehicle was not reported stolen, and bond is posted.
Again, this is a default. The factual basis is presented, finding that the vehicle was used in the commission of driving with a suspended license, that the vehicle was not stolen. Judgment entered. Fine of $250. The bond will be applied. Order entered. Selena Elliott, not present.
Notice was sent to the owner of the vehicle within 10 days of the vehicle being impounded. On October 1st of 2011, officers observed a 2006 Toyota Corolla, license plate number N690857, registered to a Selena V. Elliott. I believe, let me make sure. That's actually J. Elliott, I apologize. The vehicle was traveling at a high rate of speed eastbound on Pershing Road, passing Jasper. Based upon the officer's experience as a law enforcement officer, the vehicle was traveling in excess of the posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour. The officer attempted to catch up to the vehicle as it approached Woodford. He observed the vehicle make a left turn on Woodford from Pershing without signaling. The vehicle turned into the inside northbound lane of Woodford before switching lanes without signaling. The vehicle then turned into the parking lot of the 3100 block of North Woodford. Officers activated his emergency overhead lights to attempt a traffic stop. The vehicle then accelerated southbound through the parking lot and drive-through along the east side of Tasty's Food Restaurant, which is in the 1500 block of East Pershing. The vehicle then drove eastbound through the attached parking lot of Hertz Rental. Officer then activated his siren on a squad. The vehicle continued through the parking lot, disregarding the visual and audible signals. The vehicle was driving around cars that were parked in the parking lot, continued back west, and again entered the parking lot of Tasty's, continued through the drive-thru and accelerated rapidly before turning back east and entering the south parking lot of Napa Auto Parts. The vehicle then slammed on its brakes and caused the vehicle to skid. The driver, who was later identified as a Leonardo, Lenardo, Labon, Labon, got out of the vehicle, looked at the officer. He was ordered to lie on the ground. However, Mr. Labon took off running. Officers were able to later catch Mr. Labon based upon his erratic driving. After the officers had turned on its lights and siren, he was arrested for fleeing in an attempt to elude a peace officer. Bond is posted.
All right, that's a default factual basis presented, finding that the vehicle was used in the commission of fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer. The vehicle was not stolen. Judgment entered. Fine is $250. Bond to apply. Order entered. DeCarlos Henderson, not present.
Notice was sent to the owner of the vehicle within 10 days of the vehicle being impounded. On September 26 of 2011, officers were in the area of East Grand approaching North Jasper behind a 1978 Buick Landau, Landau, license plate number K899764. Officers checked the registration of the vehicle, found it belonged to a DeCarlos Henderson, who's let's see, I apologize. The officers found that his driving privileges, it appears, Mr. Henderson's driving privileges were suspended. So they initiated a traffic stop as the driver seemed to, they weren't unable to see the driver. Traffic stop was conducted. Vehicle was in the alley in the 1100 block of East Grand. Found the driver to be a Casey Rickey and found that Casey Rickey's driving privileges were suspended. Bond has not been posted and the vehicle was not reported stolen.
All right. Again, this is a default. The factual basis presented, finding that the vehicle was used in the commission of driving with a suspended license. Vehicle not stolen. Judgment entered. Fine of $250. Vehicle remains impounded. Order entered.
She wasn't called. They were here and decided they just. Just give them the finance and order sheet. And then you-
Victoria Lawrence and Teresa Mason Lawrence, neither present.
Yes, Your Honor. This case involves driving while license suspended. Notice was sent within 10 days of impoundment
To the owners.
to the owners. On September 25th, a police officer observed, September 25th, 2011, a police officer observed a Nissan registration N6205346 traveling northbound in front of him on 22nd Street. The officer ran the registration and found the vehicle belonged to Victoria M. Lawrence. The vehicle also belongs to Teresa Mason Lawrence. The vehicle is a 1996 Nissan Maxima. The officer conducted an investigative stop, finding that the license was suspended. The officer approached the vehicle, identified himself and the reason for the stop. The driver handed an Illinois state ID license as Victoria M. Lawrence. Victoria was advised by the officer that her license was suspended and she did not have insurance for the vehicle. Based on this, Victoria Lawrence was issued a citation for the UUMV of driving while license suspended. Bond has been posted.
Okay. Let me ask a question. What was the registration number? It didn't seem to match what's on this order, and I just want to make sure I got it right on here.
Read it to me.
Yes, sir.
On the record.
N605346.
Okay, that matches. I didn't hear you correctly. Thank you. Again, this is a default. The factual basis has been presented. The finding is that the vehicle was used in the commission of driving with a suspended license and was not stolen. Judgment entered. Fine is $250. The bond will be applied. Order entered. Okay.
Your Honor, for the record, I'll also point out that they were both present and chose to leave because they wanted to admit.
Okay. Joshua Ledbetter, not present.
Your Honor, this case is for the offense of DUI and driving while license revoked. Notice was sent to the owners within 10 days of the vehicle being impounded. On October 3, 2011, a police officer was detailed to the intersection of Kenwood and Main in reference to a hit-and-run crash. Upon arrival, the officer found a 1999 Chevrolet Malibu, Illinois registration L351200, back out of a driveway south of the intersection. The officer conducted an investigative stop of the vehicle, which eventually pulled into the driveway on the 2100 block of North Main Street. The driver was identified as Desiree M. Bell, and she began to exit the vehicle. The officer immediately instructed Bell to return to the interior of the vehicle, and she complied. At this time, the officer observed a strong odor of alcohol on Ms. Bell's breath. The officer observed Ms. Bell had bloodshot and glazed over eyes. Her speech was very confusing and difficult to understand. While talking to Bell, the officer noticed that she was swaying while standing and staggering while walking. He noticed on 2 separate occasions she was losing her balance and staggering sideways or bumping into the officers. He administered the horizontal gaze nystagmus test, which she failed. Bell provided a breath sample, and her BAC was .217. A computer check showed that her driver's license was revoked. The owner of the vehicle is Joshua Ledbetter. The vehicle was not reported stolen, and bond has not been posted.
Okay. So be, again, a default, a factual basis presented, finding that the vehicle was used in the commission of the offense of driving while under the influence of alcohol and driving while license revoked. Vehicle is not stolen. Judgment entered. The fine is $250. The vehicle remains impounded. Order entered. Denise McCutcheon, also known as McCutcheon, different spelling, McCutcheon. Okay, not present.
Yeah. Your Honor, I spoke with Ms. McCutcheon before
Okay.
the administrative court today, and she agreed to admit.
Oh, okay. She decided to leave. Okay.
Yes, Your
All
Honor.
right.
Yep. Your Honor, this case involves the offenses of driving while license revoked, possession of cannabis under 5 grams, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Notice was under 2.5 grams. Notice was sent to the owner within 10 days of the vehicle being impounded. In this case, Your Honor, on September 28, 2011, an officer was detailed to the intersection of South 16th Street and East Lakeshore Drive in reference to a 3-motor vehicle personal injury hit-and-run collision. The officer was advised the suspect vehicle was a white pickup truck pulling a boat on a trailer. The suspect vehicle was seen fleeing the scene eastbound on East Lakeshore Drive. A witness advised she followed the suspect vehicle and observed it park on the north side of the parking lot of the 2000 block of East Lakeshore Drive. The suspect vehicle was identified as a white 2001 Chevrolet Silverado, Illinois registration 91998YB. The vehicle was registered to Denise McCutcheon. Please note that the state report spells it McCutch, E-A-N, while the police report has an E-O-N.
Okay.
The officer ran the information, finding the vehicle belonged to Ms. McCutcheon. The officer was contacted by another officer by radio saying that he knows the husband of the registered owner of the Chevrolet to be Thomas J. McCutcheon. The officer said that Thomas often drives a Chevrolet and fits the description of the suspect as he walks with the cane. Several witnesses in this case described the man.
Okay.
Officer Kessner stated Thomas has a felony revoked driver's license. So the driver in this case, Thomas McCutcheon, had a felony revoked driver's license. The officer observed the Chevrolet Silverado located in grass about 10 feet to the northwest of the Chevrolet. He determined, along with the key, the officer located a syringe located 2 syringes in the grass about 5 feet from the Chevrolet key. The syringes appeared unused with caps on the needles. Also found a digital scale. The officer collected the 2 syringes as evidence and also found in plain view of the Chevrolet 3-inch long clear glass pipe containing a burnt substance in one end, as well as what appeared to be a Brillo pad located in the cup holder of the Chevrolet's center console. The officer recognized the pipe as suspected drug paraphernalia. Also inside the Chevrolet, the officer observed a clear plastic baggie containing a green leafy substance located on the floorboard behind the center console underneath the dashboard. The baggie was not tied off in a knot, but was wrapped around the suspected cannabis. The officer immediately recognized the substance as cannabis. The cannabis and packaging came to a weight of 4 grams. The officer field tested the suspected cannabis, and it tested positive for the presence of marijuana. The clear plastic baggie and cannabis were then submitted to the police department as evidence. In this case also, bond has been posted. The vehicle was not reported stolen in this crime either, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, well, this is the default. The factual basis is presented, finding that the vehicle was used in the commission of driving with a revoked license and possession of cannabis 2.5 to 10 grams and possession of drug paraphernalia. The vehicle was not stolen. Judgment entered. Fine of $250. Bond to apply. Order entered.
Your Honor, the next case, Sandra Potter. Ms. Potter contacted my office today. She sounded very ill. She asked for a brief continuance due to her illness, which we did grant. We continued this to November 4th at 9:30, and we did send her notice.
Okay, good. So we really don't need to do anything then?
Correct.
Okay, good. We're 9:30. Someone better send me notice. I'll probably show up in the afternoon. Jan said she would call me. She's very good about that.
One more case, Your Honor.
Okay. Tyrell Smith, who is not present, but we'll go ahead with him in his case.
Your Honor, Mr. Smith was present earlier, and he advised that he wished to admit.
Okay, good.
Your Honor, this case involves the offense of possession of cannabis under 2.5 grams. Notice was sent that the vehicle was impounded. Notice was sent to the owner that the vehicle was impounded within 10 days of impoundment. In this case, on September 23, 2011, an officer was dispatched to a report of a fight in progress at 1454 East Main. Upon arrival, the officer noticed a silver Chevrolet Tahoe, Illinois temporary registration 641M845, pulling away from the curb in front of the residence. The officer conducted an investigative traffic stop on the 1300 block of East Main Street and identified the driver as Tyrell A. Smith. While speaking to Smith, he observed a large folding knife in the center cup holder and a plastic cup containing a pink-colored liquid. The officer could smell a faint odor of alcohol from the passenger compartment of the vehicle. To remove Smith from the area of the folding knife, The officer had him step out of the vehicle. The officer conducted a pat-down to ensure Smith had no more weapons, and he located none. Officer Whitmer also searched the car and advised that he had found cannabis located inside the vehicle in the center console. The officer observed a small, clear plastic baggie containing a substance that had the odor and appearance of cannabis inside the center console. The officer seized the suspected cannabis, which weighed 2.4 grams with packaging. The sample tested positive for the presence of cannabis. The vehicle belongs to Tyrell Smith of 2195 East Decatur Street. The bond was posted, and the vehicle was not reported stolen. The vehicle in this case was a 2000 Chevrolet Tahoe, license registration 641M845.
Okay, anything else?
That's it,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
Well, again, I'm going to treat this as a default, even though you said he was here and left. The factual basis presented, finding that the vehicle was used in the commission of possession of cannabis, not more than 2.5 grams. Vehicle was not stolen. Judgment entered. Fine is $250. The bond will be applied. Order entered. Is that everything? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Some interesting situations.